Today's guest is Neelam Patel of Tailored Poetry. She would love to share what it's like to leave a full-time career to pursue a passion, the poetry writing process, following her dreams in the context of immigrant culture, and how imposter syndrome has so many nuances to it, one of which is having brown skin. Please give a warm welcome to ever-blessed Neelam Patel. What poem that you've written are you most proud of?
Well, I'm proud of a lot of poems, actually, and it's because during this time that I've been writing, I've been really going into my feelings in a way that I have never before dealt with my uncomfortable feelings. So recently, I'm proud of a lot of poems. But to give a quick answer, it's like the very first poem I wrote was way back in 2003. I did an open mic and scribbled something down. And I was proud of that because it was about, identity, about being of Indian culture and of American culture. And what I liked about that poem was that I was, it was probably the first, it wasn't super uncomfortable, like it didn't expose too much of the uncomfortable feelings, but I mentioned them. And so I'm proud of it because it doesn't just look at the sunny side, it looks at the frustrating side too. And I think you have to go there in order to get to the other side. And the other side is, of course, where you can feel like a badass to say, hey, I can go in and out of different matrices of culture. I can fit in the American, I can fit in the Indian, and there's a magic to that.
So is this the only book that you currently are in the process of completing, or has it been completed? Is there any other ones in the near future?
Yes, such a great question, because it's funny what happens when you start writing a book. You have new ideas for new books, but I'm not done this book yet. So I'm of the philosophy one baby at a time. And so the manuscript is done. It's been greenlit by my editor, which I'm really super proud of. And I've gotten a lot of good feedback and constructive feedback. There's, let's talk about the messy middle. Let's be honest. There's about 120 poems in there. And some of them, like, I see the comments and I'm like, really proud. Like, I think I'm done with this poem. Like, it's fine, and I see other poems that are like close to done, like, oh, just make sure the spelling's right. And I'm like, wow, like I'm already there. And then there's other poems that are total dumpster fires. Like, there's something in here that looks like it could be a poem, and so I have that. And so if you think about it, I'm practicing in this particular area, I'm practicing what I just said, which is, hey, there's a dumpster fire in my manuscript of in the section of these particular poems. But also I'm going to do this podcast and talk about my book. And so, that's something that's true. This poem is called Nationhood. I'm too Indian to be American. I'm too American to be Indian. In India, where I was born, I was moved to the foreigners area in a temple that smelled and looked and felt just like the one in New Jersey when I was young. I was marked as an American by my walk. This body designates me Indian in color, American in movement. I was not at peace in the temple bosom of my motherland. And back home in America, I didn't coordinate well with blonde, allowed to date, shoe-wearing inside of the house Americans. It was so painful to have one ear that hears only Indian sounds and another that picks up just American vibrations. I tried being both in different company, but it got confusing. I never knew which flag to pick. Neither one fit my mixed up true self. That's why I hold citizenship in a land the shape of my 2 feet. And where I step forms the boundaries of a nation I call myself. And with each move I make, the bells on my dancing feet ring to the beat of my humanity, my hope, my nationhood.
Thank you for listening to Noise Paloo Zion podcast. I'm Jasmine Castillo, also known as DJ GemJam, If you are wanting to be promoted on my podcast, please reach out to me if you are a small business, entrepreneur, musician, or artist. www.jasminecastillovoice.com. Stay tuned for the next upcoming episode.